EO that a certain price ceiling will be imposed on particularly in kasim ng baboy or pige ng baboy that will be sold for only 270 pesos per kilo. For liempo, 300 pesos per kilo, and for dressed chicken for 160 pesos per kilo.
All right, switching over now to a different topic. Did the palace give an update on the vaccination timeline? That's what everyone wants to know. Is there anything new that we know so far?
So far, Sean, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque mentioned that approximately we're expecting about 117,000 doses of Pfizer which will come to the Philippines in mid-February. Aside from that, we're also expecting about 5 to 9 million doses of AstraZeneca between or mid-February also. But the total number of 5 to 9 million doses of AstraZeneca will be expected not just in mid-February, it's a total for the whole year. Probably some of those doses will come in by second or third quarter of this year. So we're still expecting at least 3 brands of vaccine this month: Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Sinovac from China.
All right, any of these coming from the COVAX facility of the WHO?
Yes, Pfizer and AstraZeneca will come from COVAX facility of WHO.
All right, and what was the palace's reaction to those saying that the Philippines is actually lagging behind its ASEAN peers or ASEAN neighbors in vaccine procurement? Did they have a statement?
Sean, if we observe the tone of Malacanang these past few days, it seems that Secretary Roque has always been addressing his critics or the government's critics in his regular press briefing. He is regularly addressing those critics, saying that the government is not issuing any propaganda, and they are just basing the data that they release to the public from the information that comes from the World Health Organization. So he specifically mentioned Vice President Leni Robredo in saying that all those data that they release come from the WHO, so they shouldn't be accused of any propaganda. He also stated that those people who are criticizing the government are those individuals who just want to gain power or regain their power and be back in having a position in the government.
All right, now we all know that there was this military coup over in Myanmar. Speaking of our ASEAN peers, did the palace have a statement on this military coup?
Secretary Roque said that what's happening in Myanmar is an internal matter. But of course, the government is concerned about the Filipinos living in Myanmar. So they have already ordered our embassy in Myanmar to monitor the Filipinos living there. And probably if some of them would like to come back, the AFP is on standby to provide air and to provide transportation if they want to come back to the Philippines.
All right, good to hear. Now, it is Monday. Will President Duterte be addressing the nation anytime this week? It should be tonight. And if so, what can we expect?
Yes, Sean, Secretary Roque earlier in his press briefing confirmed that after the usual meeting of President Duterte with the members of the IATF, he will give his Talk to the People address this evening. Of course, the specific time is not yet mentioned, so we will still be waiting for the specific time. But of course, we will be expecting probably he will mention about the newly signed executive order and if he has new policies or directives to be given in connection with the new variant of the COVID-19 virus.
All right, we will wait for that address later on tonight. Thank you so much for all those updates. Maricel Halidi joining us live from Mandaluyong City. And back on pork, the Agriculture Department blames wholesalers for the high prices of pork in wet markets. In today's Senate hearing, Agriculture Secretary William Dar insisted that there is enough supply of pork in the country and that farm gate prices are still within the prescribed range. Secretary Dar said it is the middlemen and wholesalers that jack up the prices. Senators earlier called on the agriculture chief to punish those responsible for the alleged profiteering.
We have analyzed this, everything. Talagang yung farm gate prices are within range. The cost of producing a kilo of hog is 105 pesos. Pagdating na sa merkado, 400 pataas. So, sino po ang nagmamanipula, nagpa-profiteering po dito? It's the biyahero, it's the wholesalers.
We're going to pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. A law requiring safety car seats for children will finally take effect tomorrow. But the Land Transportation Office says that it will not be apprehending violators just yet. Jan Calimon tells us why.
The full implementation of the Child Safety in Motor Vehicles Act, or RA 1129, will start tomorrow, 2 years after it was passed into law. Under the law, private vehicles must have a child restraint system or a child car seat for those aged 12 years old and below, and shorter than 4 feet and 11 inches. Children will also be prohibited from occupying the front seat and being left inside a car without a companion. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority show that in 2017 alone, more than 1,200 minors aged 14 and below died from road crashes.
Children do not fit seatbelts, di ba? Their bodies are not yet fully developed. And so we see that when they do try the adult-sized seatbelt, it's either loosely fitting or ill-fitting. And there is that very real danger that in case of a crash, the child will be ejected from the vehicle or hit the side or rears of that vehicle, which may have sharp objects.
Based on the laws implementing rules and regulations, child car seats must have a Philippine Standard Mark stickers or Import Commodity Clearance or ICC certificate issued by the Trade Department. Selling of expired child car seats are also not allowed. However, there is an exception during emergency cases or if a child passenger has a disability that makes car seats more hazardous for them.
The law recognizes that, when it was enacted, there are already parents who have bought child car seats. So what will happen to those prior acquired CRS? So the law allows the use of these child car seats, provided that the LTO has checked and cleared the Series.
Those who will violate the law will have to face hefty fines and penalties, which range from 1,000 to 5,000 pesos. Airing drivers will also have their license suspended for a year. Manufacturers and distributors who will be caught selling unlicensed, expired, and substandard child car seats will be fined 50,000 to 100,000 pesos. The Land Transportation Office assured the public that enforcers will be trained to ensure that children will not be subjected to any form of distress during apprehension. But vehicles will not be apprehended anytime soon, as the agency is still addressing some issues on its implementation.
We have to finalize the administrative order on the 10th law because for the information of everybody, some cars have dark tints. So it will be harder for us because the enforcement of this law is visual. We have to see if the child is on the car seat.
The LTO says it will begin apprehending in 3 to 6 months. Reporting for News 5, Jen Calimon, we are One News.
In other news, Myanmar is now under a year-long state of emergency after the reported arrest of leader Aung San Suu Kyi and other key officials. Reuters reports that the military has appointed Senior General Min Aung Hlaing as acting president. The military claims voter fraud in the elections last November, which was dominated by Suu Kyi's party. A military-owned TV channel announced that the apparent coup was necessary to preserve the stability of the state. In a statement, the United States called on the military to release those detained and to adhere to the rule of law. The U.S. government stressed that it opposes any attempt to impede the democratic transition of Myanmar. Here in the Philippines, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin Jr. urged the public to watch and see the ongoing developments in Myanmar before reacting to the situation. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippines Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.